Hi, welcome. I'm Sophie and this is my space in Catford, London, the Studio SE6. Welcome and thank you so much for joining me today. This class will be a 30-minute gentle practice and it's very much geared towards winding down from a hectic week or from a busy day, and I'd highly recommend doing it just before you go to bed. So you can roll out the mat and come to your mat in your pajamas and then hop straight into bed immediately afterwards. So let me know how you get on with that. Hopefully the class will aid a very restful and peaceful sleep for you. For the class today, you'll need your yoga mats and a strap of some sort. So if you don't have a yoga belt, no problem, just grab a dressing gown belt, anything you have laying around the house that you can improvise with. You'll also need either 2 yoga blocks or 2 sturdy books that are similar in size, or even 2 cushions or pillows will do. Just something that will help elevate the floor for you should you need it. So keeping those handy at the top of your mat. You will definitely need the yoga strap, so again have that handy next to your mat as well. Please let me know if you enjoy the class in the comments boxes below. So when you're ready, I'll see you on the mat. Let's start today sitting up nice and tall, either cross-legged or kneeling. Allow the crown of the head to float above the base of the spine and the shoulders stack above the hips. Have the palms lightly resting on the thighs and the elbows hanging underneath the shoulders. From here, let's take an inhale, lift the shoulders up towards the ears. And then with a big sigh through the mouth, allow the shoulders to melt down towards the waist. Inhaling, shrug the shoulders up, and exhale, slide them away. And last one here. Take the biggest sigh you can through the mouth as the shoulders sit heavy down the back and on the rib cage. Keep sitting up nice and tall here, a feeling of lifting out through the crown of the head and an anchoring down through the sit bones. Soften the skin and the muscles on the face. And let's begin to take a few settling in breaths here. Keeping the shoulders heavy and relaxed, take an inhale down into your belly. Allow the belly to softly and naturally expand. And as you exhale, the navel gently draws back towards the spine. And using each exhale to begin to let go of your day, visualizing physical tension melting into the mat, letting go of any negative energy you've been holding on to. Taking a few more breaths here. And with this last breath, take a big exhale through the mouth. Draw the chin down towards the chest, feeling the lengthening in the neck. With an inhale, tip the chin towards the ceiling, just so you can feel the stretch in the front of the neck, working within your comfortable range of motion. Exhaling, chin towards the chest. Moving nice and slow and moving with the breath. Inhaling to lift the chin, and exhaling to lower the chin. Let's do one more here. Keep the shoulders heavy and relaxed. Come back to the center and tip the right ear towards the right shoulder, and be careful here not to lift the shoulder to the ear. Taking your right hand as an option, place it on the left shoulder and gently press down. This will intensify the stretch, so it's entirely up to you. If it's too much, you can take the hand away. Let's take the chin down towards the shoulder and a nod of the head, yes. Just working to release any sticky points here in the neck and in the tops of the shoulders. Nod the head, no. And then bring the head back to center, ready for the other side. Relax the shoulders, and again now the left ear comes towards the left shoulder, and an option to place the left hand on top of the right shoulder. Gentle pressure here, and you can always release this hand if it's too much. Draw the chin towards the shoulder, And take a nod of the head, yes. And then shaking the head, no. And coming back into the center. Let's make our way onto all fours to a tabletop position. Stacking your shoulders directly over your wrists and your hips over your knees. Reach forwards with the crown of the head and slide the shoulders back towards the waist. Taking a cat stretch here. Exhaling, tuck in the toes under, curl the tailbone under, and continue to curl through the spine. Allow the crown of the head to drop towards the mat, look to the navel. Inhaling, slide the feet away, tip the tailbone slightly to the ceiling, and now lift the chest. Lift the chest through the arms and spread the collarbones wide into your cow stretch. Exhaling, start with the feet, tuck the tailbone under, curl through the spine, look towards the navel. Inhaling, slide the feet away, tip the tailbone and lift the chest. We'll do one more of these. When you come to your cat stretch, press down through your arms and separate your shoulder blades away from the spine. Coming back into the center. Now swing your rib cage out towards the right. Roll across the center in a cat stretch. Swing the rib cage to the left and then come back across the center in a cow type stretch. So a slightly tilted tailbone here and an open chest. So maybe visualizing your torso as a big skipping rope, moving with as much fluidity as you can. Let the hips go, let the head go, soften the elbows, and just move. Now let's reverse and swing the other way. Swing out to the left, roll across the top, out to the right, and across the center. Keeping everything soft. Now coming back to the center, tuck the toes or you can stay on the tops of your feet as you sit your weight back into child's pose. Hips back towards the heels, a slight tuck of the tailbone here, reaching the arms out in front, shoulder distance apart. Lifting wrists to armpits and bow the head between the arms or head to block. And think about length equally in both sides of the waist here. Rooting your hips back towards your heels, walk your hands over to the top left corner of your mat. Stack your right palm on top of your left and bow your head between your arms. Take an inhale and open up the right side of the rib cage. Take an exhale, soften and release. Come back to the center and walk the hands over to the right top corner of your mat, stacking your left palm on top of your right. Again, as you inhale, breathing into the left side of your rib cage. Pressing back the hips to the heels and exhaling, come back through to the center. Prop yourself back up on your knees and stack your hips directly on top of your knees. From this position, coming into puppy dog pose, walking your hands forwards to the top of your mat. So keeping the arms shoulder distance apart here, spread the fingers wide and press back towards the hips. Bow the head between the arms and draw the chest towards the floor. Try not to sag in the upper back, so you want to lift the chest between the shoulder blades, broaden the upper back here. Hug the navel gently towards the spine. Your head can rest on a block or towards the floor. Look towards your knees, relax the face. Let's add a twist here. You can sit back into child's pose for this or stay in your puppy dog pose. Come high on your left fingertips and keep the arm in line with the left shoulder. Take the right arm underneath and through and reach out through the fingertips towards the left. So it's almost as if you're trying to stack your shoulders here. Draw that top shoulder back and the underneath shoulder through. Laying the head on a block or the side of the head on the mat. Feeling the twist coming from around the belly button area and the hips stay facing the mat. Let's come back to center and we'll go with the other side. Reaching your right hand in front, come high on the fingertips. When you're ready, take your left arm underneath and reach through to the right. Really reach through the fingertips, drawing that underneath shoulder through, and that top shoulder rolls back and down. Make sure here that the neck has space. Again, the rotation coming from the belly button area, laying the head on a block or on the mat. Inhale, breathe in between the shoulder blades, and exhale, soften and release. Coming back into the center, make our way here onto all fours. Take your left foot forwards, stacking your knee and your ankle in line at the front. And then draw your hips just forwards of your back knee. Tuck the tailbone slightly, lift the pubic bone towards the navel, and lift out through the crown of the head. You want to feel a stretch in the front of the right hip. Now shift your hips slightly further forwards if you can on an exhale, just to deepen the stretch, and then inhale, rock back a little, finding length and space across the front of the hip. Exhale, rock forwards. So we'll just work with that gentle rock backwards and forwards, using the exhale to deepen the posture. Maybe take the hips a little further forwards each time. And the next time you come forwards, hold here and let's take a few breaths. Rock the hips back, bring the hands to the floor, and let's go with the other side. Taking your right leg through to the front, stacking the knee and the ankle, make your way up to your crescent lunge. Hands placed on the thigh, a lifting through the crown of the head and an opening of the chest. Bring the hips forwards of the back knee, and with an exhale, see if you can shift the hips forwards more towards the heels. With an inhale, rock back. And with an exhale, rock forwards. So again, just moving gently between the backwards and forwards motion, staying connected with the breath. Deepening the posture on an exhale, and on the inhale, just finding extra space and length across the front of that left hip. Exhaling, coming forwards, and now stay. Take a few easy breaths here. Inhaling, finding that space in the front of the hip, and exhaling to soften and release. Bringing your hands down to the floor and shift onto your bottom. Let's take a roll down to the mat, but first of all, just make sure that you have your belt or your strap handy and any cushions or blocks that you may be using as props. So just have them by your head so that they're in easy reach. When you're ready, let's take a roll down, keeping the knees bent, feet flat to the floor, hip distance apart. Reach the arms out in front, inhale. Tuck the chin towards the chest a little and start to roll back to your tailbone. With an exhale, start to roll through the spine, nice and easy, all the way down until eventually the back of the head touches. Take a full body stretch, inhaling, reaching up and over. And with an exhale, swoop the arms around and hug the knees into the chest, hugging behind the thighs or on top of the shins. Roll around the sacrum here, just small circular motions massaging the base of the spine. And go the other way. And then come back to center. Keeping your big toes connected here, take hold of the knees and let's draw big circles here, just starting to work into those hip joints. So making the circles as big as you can, making sure that as the knees come away from you, your pelvis doesn't rock forwards. So you're not overarching your lower spine here. And then let's go the other way. And then come back to center and hug the knees towards your armpits. So you want to keep the entire length of your spine here on the mat if you can. So you can hug on top of the shins or behind the thighs. And now take big circles here in the ankle joints. Full range of motion. So it's usual here to hear a few Rice Krispie tones in there, so you may get a few snap crackles and little pops. As long as there's no pain with those, then generally that's pretty normal. So again, just making sure that you are moving within your comfortable range. And then coming back to the center. And now let's take a hamstring stretch here. So taking hold of your belt, place your left foot on the floor, lengthen out through your tailbone and keep your hips anchored to the mat. Take your strap around the ball of the right foot, and when you're ready, extend the leg up above the hip, making that leg as straight as you can here and reaching out through the right heel. Slide your hands down the belt so that the tops of the arms can rest heavy on the floor, shoulders are relaxed and the chest remains open. If this is comfortable for you, you may want to extend the underneath leg so the left toes and kneecap point towards the ceiling. Just settle here into the stretch, breathing into the back of that right thigh, into the hamstring, and creating that space and that feeling of length. And on the exhale, allowing the back of the thigh to soften and to relax. Using each exhale to let go of physical tension. Ensuring that you're not gritting the teeth here and the jaw is relaxed. Now let's press up through the ball of the foot. So you gently pull on the belt as you press the ball of the foot up into the belt. And then press up through the heel so the toes come down towards the face. And let's just move between those two movements here. Ball of the foot and then the heel, stretching out through the calf. And let's do one more of these here. And then release the belt, but just keep the leg where it is for the moment. If the left leg is straight, bend it back now so the foot is flat to the mat. And let's take sleeping pigeon here. Turning out your right thigh from in the hip and bringing that flexed right ankle across the left thigh. Open out your right knee away from your body. You can stay here and just rock from side to side a little, or you may like to lift the left knee above the left hip. So this intensifies the stretch here, so it's entirely up to you. Again, if you want to go a little deeper, then you can roll up, take behind the back of the left thigh, or even the top of the left shin. Making sure that your shoulders are heavy, your chin and your forehead are in line, and even maybe a slight tuck of the chin here. Feeling a heaviness in the hips with each exhale. Breathing into the outer right hip and along the outer right thigh with each inhale. Now placing your left foot on the floor if it's not there already, taking your arms into cactus position with the elbows in line with the shoulders, the forearms rest back, or a T shape with the arms in line with the shoulders. Let's walk your left foot just outside of the line of your left hip, flex the toes, so pull the toes back so that you engage the ankle, and then when you're ready, just bring the knees over towards the right. So we're keeping the same position with the legs, coming into a twist. So the chest will stay open towards the ceiling and the left shoulder anchored down. Any pain in the inner left knee, just unwind the legs and bring the right foot down to the floor. And feeling length here between the left hip point and the very outside of the left knee, down the outside of the thigh. Draw navel to spine as you roll back to the center, walking your left foot back in front of the left hip. Take your right knee to the right armpit. So you want the thigh just hanging on the side of the body there, just by the rib cage. Take hold of the back of the right thigh or anywhere along the outside of the lower right leg. You can even take your hand to the blade of the right foot. Press the sole of your foot up towards the ceiling while you draw your knee down through the armpit towards the mat. Keeping length here in the entire spine, making sure that your tailbone is down and you're not pressing through your left foot to rock your hips back. If this is comfortable, maybe extending out through the left leg, with the toes and the kneecap pointing up. Keep your chin and your forehead in line here, your shoulders relaxed and your chest open. Stretching gently in the right hamstring, opening up in the hips and the groins. If your left leg is straight, slide it back now to bent. Hug your right knee in towards your chest and then extend the right leg away from you and reach your arms out, really opening up across the front of that hip. And as you exhale, just bend that knee back in. Right foot flat to the floor, and let's do the same thing now on the other side. Hugging the left knee in towards you and taking your strap around the ball of the left foot. Extending that left leg up, reaching through the left heel. Keeping your entire back on the mat and the tops of the arms heavy. So just sliding your hands down the belt so you can relax the shoulders. If this is comfortable, extending the right leg away from you. Now let's press ball of the foot into the strap and then take the heel towards the ceiling and the toes down towards you. So moving between those two motions, inhaling, press ball of the foot into the strap, exhaling, toes down and the heel lifts. Pressing up through the heel and feeling that stretch in the calf. Bringing the right foot back flat to the floor if it's extended. Let's turn out the left thigh from the hip socket and take a flexed left ankle over the right thigh. Moving that left knee gently away from the body, taking sleeping pigeon here. So again, you can stay here and just gently rock from side to side, or bring the right knee above the right hip, maybe in towards the chest. Roll up and take behind the right thigh or on top of the right shin. Keep gently working the left knee away from the body and maybe circling around the sacrum. Reaching out through the tailbone, try to keep your hips down on the mat. If you have hold of your right shin or your right thigh, just release it now and bring the foot down to the floor. Keep the legs exactly as they are and walk your right foot outside of the right hip line. Take your arms to cactus or T-shape and with an exhale, roll your knees over towards the left. Just flexing those right toes, so pulling the right toes back. Finding that length between the hip point on the right and the outside of the knee, so along the outer thigh. Again, if this is uncomfortable, unwind the legs and bring the left foot down to the floor. Keep anchoring down through the right shoulder blade. With an exhale, drawing yourself back to center, walk your right foot back in line with the hip and bring your left knee towards your left armpit. And again, just sitting to the side of the body, to the left side of the rib cage. Keeping your entire spine down on the mat, holding back of the thigh anywhere along the outer lower leg or even the blade of the foot. Gently draw the toes back towards you. Bend the knee towards the armpit and press up the sole of the foot towards the ceiling. Soften the shoulders and allow the upper back to melt into the mat here. Keep an openness in the chest and a softness in the face. If this is comfortable, extending away the right leg. The toes and the kneecap pointing towards the ceiling. With each exhale, a sense of that left knee drawing down through the armpit towards the mat. Bend the knee back in towards the chest and extend the leg all the way to the top of the mat. Reach the arms up and over, and let's bring that left leg back and the right if it's extended. So both knees are now bent, feet flat to the mat. So you may want to take hold of your 2 blocks or cushions here as we come into reclined cobbler's pose. Soles of the feet together, heels in towards your groins, and we'll allow the thighs here just to open up. So maybe propping yourself up with the blocks or cushions underneath the thighs so you feel fully supported in this position. If you have very tight inner thighs or hip flexors, you might find that your pelvis is really tilting forwards and you have an overarch in the lower back. So using the props will just help lift the knees and support the thighs a little here, and hopefully then you can soften down into the hips and into the lower back. Take your hands to your belly, either side of the navel. Slide the shoulders down away from the ears. And let's take a moment to connect back with the breath. Keeping a softness in the face, relaxing the brow, the eyes, the jaw. As you breathe in, breathe into the hands. As you feel the belly rise, pressing gently into the hands. And as you exhale, the hands lower as the belly button draws back towards the mat. Now once you're comfortable here, try to slow the breath down to an even 4 count. And silently counting the breath in and out. And if the mind begins to wander, just drawing your focus and attention back to the count of your breath. Feeling the belly rise on the inhale and feeling the rib cage open and expand. On the exhale, everything softening and releasing back to the center. With the inhale, feeling the opening in the inner thighs and in the groins. Feeling space in the pelvis, in the hips. And with the exhale, letting the weight of the hips, of the entire back, melt into the mat. And now slowly using the hands on the outsides of the thighs and just draw the thighs in towards one another. Toe heel the feet out until eventually you're back to hip distance apart with the feet and the knees. Now let's walk the feet out a little wider, maybe as wide as your mat, and roll the knees in towards one another. If the knees don't meet, then take a cushion between the two. Let's take a few breaths here in this constructive rest pose, feeling a softness in the lower back and in and around the hip creases. This posture should require little effort from you. You can choose to stay here for the last few minutes of your practice, or come to corpse pose, Shavasana, taking the legs long and opening out the feet as wide as your mat. Let the feet turn out naturally, and the legs turn out naturally from the hips. Shuffle the hips from side to side, and shuffle the shoulders away from the ears. And make whatever adjustments you feel necessary to allow yourself to come to a place of stillness. Notice how you're feeling, both mentally and physically, any subtle changes from the beginning of your practice to now. Notice the space in which you breathe. Hopefully we've created a sense of more openness in the body, allowing you to breathe more fully and efficiently. For a deeper relaxation, you might like to try to extend your exhale. Inhaling for 4, exhaling for 6 to 8 counts, knowing you can always come back to the even count belly breath at any time. Follow the path of your breath in and out, using each exhale to let go of anything you're holding on to, of anything that really doesn't matter. With your inhale, repeating silently the mantra, I am calm. And with your exhale, repeating, I am completely relaxed. Inhaling, I am calm. Exhaling, I am completely relaxed. And repeating this to yourself 3 more times, allowing these words to fully resonate within. Now take a deep breath in and a big sigh out through the mouth. Let's begin to slowly wake the body up. You can stay here for as long as you want to, but if you'd like to end your practice now, let's slowly just begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. And when you're ready, draw the knees in towards your chest, rocking gently from side to side, and then rolling over to whichever side you have the most space. Stay here. Place the hands underneath the cheek as a pillow. And you can now make your way in your own time slowly to seated. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope this practice has been of benefit to you. Please do let me know, and I really hope to see you again soon.